from the Big South Conference. Good afternoon and happy holidays. I'm Matt Stewart, joined by Coach Christy Thomas-Cuddy. And Coach, one final game before the big day for Georgia, and a good thing. They'd like to get some momentum, get a win under their belts after falling to 10th ranked and undefeated UCLA on Thursday.
There were some bright spots against UCLA. They put together 3 quality quarters. However, second quarter proved to be doomsday, only scoring 4 points. UGA right now is trying to create that positive momentum, and a big part of that is going to be rebounding. I'm eager to see how the Bulldogs respond today.
Gabby Conley continues to lead Georgia, but Mallory Bates coming off the best game of the season against UCLA. They'll need more of that going forward.
Well, Mallory Bates has needed to develop her own offensive chemistry after being out last year with a knee injury. I thought against UCLA it was her best performance of allowing the offense to come to her. But on the defensive end, Matt, she was a rim protector. And just as importantly, I believe that Javin Nicholson and Jordan Isaac's development and their consistent play is vital for UGA as they prepare for SEC play.
And, Coach, we're going to see plenty of the Plentovich twins today. Carly and Savannah, the seniors, are the leaders of this running Bulldogs team.
Well, if you're a Gardner Webb fan, it is good in Plentovich as a running Bulldog fan. These young ladies are 41% of the total offense for Gardner Webb. They know how to light it up from 3. They can take you off the bounce. Hey, and buckle in, because it's a lot of fun to watch these two.
Gardner Webb in their road scarlet and black, and Georgia in their home white, red and black. And we're ready to go. Santa's in his sleigh, getting ready to go, and we're underway here with basketball in Stegman Coliseum as Gabby Conley brings it across. Conley coming off a 16-point performance against UCLA, and Q Morrison gets things started with a 3.
Well, we're looking for more offense from the Lady Bulldogs, and Q Morrison's a big part of that. Traditionally, he's been scoring off her defense. Nice to see her within the half-court offense knock it down.
3-point attempt by Houston, rebound attempt by Gardner Webb off the mark, and Morrison across the timeline for Georgia. Stady will take the 3. Stady just 1 for 6 on her 3-pointers coming into this game. Houston beats the defense down the floor and puts it up and in. Here's a look at the starting 5 for Georgia. Conley, Caldwell, Morrison, Paul, and Stady. And Morrison making her 3rd consecutive start.
And Matt, I think in this game today, the matchup to watch is UGA's true post players, low post players, 5s against the more versatile players from Gardner Webb. They have the ability to pull the bigs out from UGA. They also, as we saw a moment ago, run the floor extremely well.
Official timeout.
Officials timeout as we take a look at Alex Simmons. You might recognize her, the former Tennessee Lady Ball star. 21-18 in her first head coaching assignment. So we're going to step aside. We have our first official timeout of the game, and more on Alex Simmons and the great job she's doing with Gardner Webb when we get back.
My name is Mo Hassan, and my nonprofit Second Spoon. We're taking surplus foods and we're distributing them to the homeless in different communities. When I first got to college, I saw firsthand in the cafeterias just how much food was wasted. We need to find a way to repurpose these foods. Just seeing firsthand the homeless people's faces when we bring them food and positively affect them in that way is amazing. I just know it's more than football, and we have a platform, and I think we owe it to the community to use that platform for good.
Learn more at belk.com/projecthometown.
Life's better with a friend by your side. A friend that's always honest with you. No. A friend that trusts you. A friend that will never hold you back. Say hello to your friend in wireless.
Here's Darius Taylor, the husband of head coach Joni Taylor, there with the kids. You know, they're excited in their household with 2 youngins getting ready for Christmas just 3 days from now. And as we were telling you about Alex Simmons, you might remember her wearing the orange and white of the Tennessee Volunteers. Well, she's been an assistant coach for the last 10 years. Kansas, Middle Tennessee, Ole Miss, and now getting her first head coaching assignment with Gardner Webb, and now in her second season.
Well, this team a year ago finished with a record of 16-15. Already 5 early wins on the season. I said, what's the biggest difference for you? She says, our culture's in place, our players understand what I'm looking for, and it's just going so much smoother than in her rookie year.
And, Coach, you talk about a resume. When she was at Tennessee, they won 2 national championships. She played in 3 Final Fours, and the one down year they had, they were in the Elite Eight.
Well, definitely during the heyday of Tennessee Lady Vol basketball. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I was really impressed talking with Alex yesterday, and I don't know why I should have been. When you play under the legendary coach in Pat Summitt, you can just tell that goes through her and every part of her and the way she teaches and coaches her team.
Now, it's very interesting. Joni Taylor called that timeout just barely a minute into the game, and they've taken Stephanie Paul off the floor, and Jordan Isaacs is on the floor.
UGA has still not put together 40 complete minutes, so I've got to believe that quick timeout was, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to play our style of ball, which is let's get down on defense and let's own the glass.
I have not seen a timeout that quick the entire season. So Stady's going to be at the line. You can see Joni Taylor participating in Tacky Sweater Day, although that's a very sporting sweater there with Mickey on there. Stady has vastly improved her free throw shooting. 20 percentage points higher than a year ago. She's 81%. You saw Stephanie Paul over on the stationary bike.
Well, a big part of Stephanie Paul is just to stay loose with those knees that are just been giving her so much problems. So I'm not surprised to see her immediately leave the game and go right to the bike.
So the free throw makes allowed Georgia to get into their full court press.
And Gardner Webb's a team that is kind of a positionless offense. Every player on the floor can shoot the three. Every player can take you off the bounce.
Caponegro had her shot changed by Stady, got it back, and the rebound controlled by Isaacs. And this is certainly the earliest that Jordan Isaacs has been in any one of Georgia's 12 games.
Absolutely. But as SEC play looms, I'm eager to see these young players get more time and see if they're ready or not for SEC.
And, Coach, that's exactly what we were talking about at the start of this game. Those freshman post players are going to have to be bigger and stronger and better for Georgia when SEC play starts January 2nd against Ole Miss. Joni Taylor looking for a more complete effort. She was very unhappy with the way UCLA was able to push the Georgia offense out to the volleyball line and the Georgia logo in that 59-50 loss on Thursday morning.
Well, when you give that kind of ball pressure, it minimizes the advantage that UGA has down low in the low post because it makes for longer entry passes. And UGA struggled throughout that game Thursday with getting the ball inside consistently. So I'm eager, and that's why I said earlier, who's going to have the advantage in terms of post play? Is the ball going to go inside to the bigger post of UGA, or is Gardner Webb going to be able to take the UGA bigs off the bounce?
Bounce pass to Isaac. She got fouled, and she'll go to the line for 2. And going back to that UCLA game, and you got a chance to work that, we had great all-access Joni Taylor on the sideline. She kept imploring her team to rebound. Remember, this is what we did in practice. This is what we talked about in the locker room 5 minutes ago. And Georgia ended up getting killed on the boards by UCLA in that game and gave up 21 offensive rebounds.
Well, Matt, basketball is a possessions game. At the end of the day, most teams are going to shoot fairly around the 40% mark. UGA was almost something like a negative 30-plus possessions due to turnovers and offensive rebounds of UCLA. It's difficult to win ball games that way.
Isaacs with the free throws. Georgia the 7-point lead here in the first 3 minutes. Stolen away by Gabby Conley to Caldwell to Conley, the layup. And a timeout called by Alex Simmons. So Georgia getting after it on the defensive end.
Well, the made free throw, Matt, allows UGA to set up in this full court pressure. The trap with a great rotation by Connolly, shoots the gap, gets the steal for the easy two.
Well, the full court pressure, as we all know, is a Joni Taylor trademark. It's quintessential what she wants to do with her defense. But Georgia is shooting only 13th in the SEC out of 14 teams. They've been a very poor field goal shooting and three-point shooting team. So when you have that many misses, that fewer opportunities to get into your full court press and do defensively, it's all keen on what you can do and not do offensively.
Goes back to that possessions game. If you can't knock down the first shot, you've got to create second opportunities. If you're struggling the half court, try to score out of transition with your defense.
Mallory Bates now in the game for Jenna Stady. Conley poked that away from behind, but Gardner Webb retains possession. And a turnover for Gardner Webb, number 2 for them.
Matt, this is not disrespectful, but UCLA is the number 10 ranked team in the country. Gardner Webb obviously is not. However, the defensive pressure right now that UGA is giving Gardner Webb is totally taking them out of the ballgame to this point.
To this point, the Plentovich sisters have taken one shot. And they're not really handling the ball that much either on the offensive end. Bates in a double team. Let's see if she passes out of it. Nope, shoots instead. Might have been an opportunity right there to find the open man.
Without a doubt. And the other part of that shot is that her teammates weren't ready for her to shoot that, so only Nichols was able to get on the glass off that miss, and therefore they could not get it.
Moving screen on Gardner Webb. That's going to be called on Pointer. 3 team fouls now on Gardner Webb. So Pointer's going to come off the floor, and now Nia Lee, who played at Collins Hill nearby.
Gardner Webb is winners of 5 of their last 7 games. Against Mercer, triangle and 2 defense was running against them, against both Plentovich sisters. Didn't matter. Other players stepped up and knocked down shots. That's why right now I'm so impressed with UGA's defense, because it's truly taken Gardner Webb's out of sync entirely on offense.
And now 14 fouls on Gardner Webb in the opening 4 minutes. And Georgia's a good free throw shooting team this year. Number 3 in the SEC, over 73%. Bates inside off the inbounds and missed the layup.
Great execution, unfortunately, Mallory Bates just rushed that release instead of taking it up and finishing.
And that's interesting because you said in the open in the UCLA game, she started to show signs of slowing down on offense. Oh, wow, what a move. Caldwell breaking some ankles.
Well, man, I believe UGA is at their best when their defense allows them to get out in transition or creates early offense. Here, Maya Caldwell, beautiful hesitation move. Low crossover, takes it to the rim to finish.
Big 11-point lead for Georgia.
I asked Alex Simmons yesterday, what's kind of the point number that you know you need to get to or keep UGA under in order to win? She said, we got to keep it in the 60s. I'm not sure we can score above that. So if you're a UGA fan, you've got to be ecstatic right now with the early, quick offensive explosion.
And Georgia averaging just 64 points per game, which is 13th out of the 14 teams in the SEC. Right now, though, on pace for an 80-point game.
Matt, that goes back to what you were saying in the open. Gabby Connolly has been that consistent offensive player for UGA, but the rest of the players haven't been as consistent. This is where that momentum piece comes into play as they get ready to go into the holiday break. Who's ready to evolve their game come SEC?
So Gabby Conley with 4 of Georgia's first 15 points. You see she's averaging 14.4 a game, which is number 9 in the SEC, and her 3.9 assists per game are number 10 in the conference.
And there have been boxing ones against Gabby Conley, triangles and two. We saw UCLA deny her the ball once she initiated the offense. So she's seen pretty much everything thrown at her. The key now is she willing to come back and get the ball? Is she willing to put people where they need to, even when the ball is not in her hands?
Feed inside for Nicholson. Nicholson gets it up and in. So all three of the freshman posts that we talked about when we started this game are on the floor in the first 6 minutes.
Do you think Joni Taylor watched her open? We're like, hey, Matt's onto something here.
Yeah, they know what they're talking about.
I know players approach this last game before break very differently than the coaches. When I was coaching, I felt so much pressure because of that momentum piece. You wanted players to feel good going into the break so that you could build on that come conference play. Sometimes with young players, especially if you're on the road, you're already halfway out the door because you're ready to get home to mom and dad and get spoiled a little bit with some good cooking and rest.
Turnover there for Georgia, and that's going to be the second for them. Meantime, the Plintovich twins are 0 for 4 from the floor to start the game. Georgia's just done a really good job of just denying them touches, much less shots. Kozo's shot was blocked by Nicholson. Caldwell driving, splits the defense, got fouled, and Caldwell's going to go to the line. That puts Georgia in the bonus.
Maya Caldwell already looks so much more aggressive and confident with the ball in her hands than she did in Thursday's game against UCLA. Her ability right now to get to the rim can be a difference maker for UGA.
Coach, last 4 games, Maya averaging just 8 points per game and shooting 31.5% from the floor since he scored 17 against Butler back at Thanksgiving.
Well, Matt, in UGA's 7 wins, Maya Caldwell's averaging 13 points a game. In their 4 losses, only 6 points. So this is a young lady who's got to be more consistent in order for UGA to take the next step.
And those 4 losses, all against power conference teams. Plintovich drives and got the layup. She worked hard for that. That was Carly Plintovich, the leading scorer on this team at 13-8 a game and number 9 in the Big South.
And that's what makes her so dangerous, is that there was nothing there. She purely created those 2 points by herself to get to the rim and finish.
Double team, Conley trying to get out of it. Finds Caldwell, the open man, and the layup.
Caldwell's going to get the 2 points. Gabby Conley gets full credit for that entire offensive possession. Kept her mind about her with the double team coming, split the trap, and was able to find the open player.
That's her second assist of the game. Kozo traveled. Laura Kozo, freshman center out of Ontario.
Conley is getting double teamed, so obviously there's someone wide open somewhere. She keeps her head up, finds Caldwell on the weak side so that she can get to the rim for the easy 2.
4 assists for Georgia on their 7 makes last Sunday. They had a season-high 20 assists in their 77-48 win against Furman. Conley through the defense to the corner, and Morrison for 3. Rebound, Stady goes up with it. Second, third attempt, and she got fouled. Stady's going to go to the line. Kozo got called for the foul.
Alex Simmons, she's going deep in her bench. She's trying to find some answer to UGA's offense right now and to get her team calmed down.
Rotating a lot of bigs in there. Pointer's already been on the floor. She averages only 13 minutes a game. Kozo's been on the floor. She's played only 19 minutes the entire season. So, yeah, she's looking for some answers. So Stady's now got 6 points. Stady was averaging only 6 points per game the last 3 games. She's really fallen off here over the last couple of weeks. Double dribble or a foul? Foul's going to be called on Conley. Number 1 on Conley, number 3 team foul on Georgia.
And Matt, we can talk about the offense coming fairly easy for UGA, but I got to give it was Q Morris and it was Mike Caldwell credit for the way they've been defending the Plentovich sisters. They are chasing through all these screens, riding them out, and preventing any kind of passes to Carly and Savannah Plentovich in the half court.
Gardner Webb has only one starter on the floor right now. That's Savannah Plentovich. And now she's going to bring it up the floor. Savannah is the younger by 1 minute, hits the three-pointer.
So there is no offense if you can score in transition, and that was a great spot-up pull there by Savannah Plentovich.
Gardner Webb is the #1 scoring team in the Big South Conference, and right at 67 points per game. Inside Nicholson, left alone. Backdoor cut, and Plentovich the layup. So Savannah Plentovich, who averages 13-3 a game, #6 rebounder in the conference. She scores the last 2 baskets for them, and the drop-off by Caponegro and the miss by Kane. But Kane got fouled. She'll go to the line.
Well, Matt, we knew it was a matter of time before one of the Plentovich sisters, about both, got going. Here, Savannah, right off the bounce, knocks down the 3 in transition. Very next play down the floor, takes it off the bounce on the back door to finish at the rim.
Well, Alex Simmons says she wants players who played like she did at Tennessee. Can shoot the 3, can drive to the basket, and stretch defenses.
Well, as I was preparing for Gardner Webb, I just thought like it was like one game where a post stepped out and knocked down the 3, and then I just kept watching. And so I asked her, I'm like, does every player on your squad shoot the 3 and take it off the bounce? She said, yeah, I want them to play like I did. And I don't blame her one bit. She was a force to be reckoned with as a player at Tennessee.
No doubt. She was the 2004 Tennessee Miss Basketball her senior year at Shelbyville High School. A WBCA All-American, McDonald's All-American, 3-time All-State, led the team to 3 state championships, and then she went and played for Pat Summitt and starred there on Rocky Top, too. Foul again on Gardner Webb. They have racked them up here in this first quarter. Pointer is called for the foul. That's number 2 on her. And Shania Jones, who scored 20 in her debut, this time a week ago against Furman, but then came back and scored only 2 against UCLA, looking for a much more even performance here today.
I thought against Furman, she allowed the offense to come to her. I was really impressed in her debut and how relaxed, and she let the offense develop. I thought against UCLA, she really forced the action and made a couple of bad decisions come shot selection.
Yeah, she missed 7 of 8 shots, and she was 0 for 3 on her 3-point attempts. So foul on Georgia, number 4 on them. We've had 11 total fouls called in this first quarter. Bevis down to 7 on the shot clock and game clock for the first quarter. Deflected out of bounds by Chloe Chapman.
And Bevis, as a freshman point guard, just has to be able to read the defense. She just tried to run the play looking at her teammate. If she would have read that Chloe Chapman shot the gap, she had Plentovich for the 3 on the weak side.
Bevis, clock winding down, got it off the iron, and that's the end of the first quarter. Georgia with a ball hawking defense in that first quarter, shot 53% from the floor and leads by 14 as we head to the second.
My name is Mo Hassan, and my nonprofit Second Spoon. We're taking surplus foods and we're distributing them to the homeless in different communities. When I first got to college, I saw firsthand in the cafeterias just how much food was wasted. We need to find a way to repurpose these foods. Just seeing firsthand the homeless people's faces when we bring them food and positively affect them in that way is amazing. I just know it's more than football, and we have a platform, and I think we owe it to the community to use that platform for good.
Learn more at belk.com/Project Hometown.
Life's better with a friend by your side. A friend that's always honest with you. No. A friend that trusts you. A friend that will never hold you back. Say hello to your friend in wireless.
Start of the second quarter, Georgia up 26-12. Matt Stewart joined by Coach Christy Thomas-Cuddy, and Merry Christmas as we come to you live from Stegman Coliseum today. Highest scoring first quarter of the season for the Lady Bulldogs.
UGA wanted to try to create some momentum going into the holiday break, and they have that from an offensive perspective based on just this first quarter.
Georgia shot 53% in that first quarter, 1 of 4 on their threes, 9 of 10 at the free throw line. That was a big difference, I thought, in that first quarter. A lot of fouls by Gardner Webb, 7 total. Georgia was in the bonus early, and you see the Plintovich twins, 7 points total, 5 of those coming from Savannah. The rest of the team had only 5 points.
Well, if you think about it, a 10-minute quarter, and those 5 points basically came in about a 30-second span. I thought UGA's perimeter defense was really strong on both Plintovich sisters. However, the piece right now that I'm still a little concerned about from a UGA perspective is offensive rebounds for Gardner Webb at this point, 4 already in the first quarter.
Stady the miss, chased into the corner, and last touch by Gardner Webb, so the shot clock goes back to 20. Georgia's 10th out of the 14 teams in the SEC, averaging less than 13 offensive boards a game. Gardner Webb is 6th in their conference, averaging 11.5 offensive boards per game. Georgia's played 11 players so far today. And Hose becomes the 12th. So 12 players in the opening 10-plus minutes of this game. Foul called on Caponegro. That's going to be number 1 on her.
Well, consistently this season, Joni Taylor's been going 12 deep. She's not afraid to use that bench, go to that bench. I think the key right now is players starting to maximize those opportunities versus just expecting to come on the floor.
Hose with the scoop shot layup.
And that's a great way by Caitlin Hose to maximize the opportunities when she gets on the floor. Has struggled a little bit with knocking down the outside shot. Anything that Caitlin Hose can get off the bounce is almost a cherry on top for the UGA offense.
Caldwell in the corner, missed the three-point shot, and a foul on Georgia. I think this will be on Isaacs. It is, number 1 on her.
So, man, on the floor for UGA right now, 2 juniors, a sophomore, and 2 true freshmen.
And 2 of their original 5 starters. Foul on Georgia. Isaac just picked up her second personal.
So, Matt, when you hold an opponent just to 12 points in a quarter and you've been really shutting them down on defense, the last thing you want to do is provide easy scoring opportunities. You have to be more disciplined and not commit those silly fouls that will put Gardner Webb on the free throw line.
Gardner Webb is the number 1 free throw shooting team in the Big South Conference. They make 74% of their threes, and another foul on Georgia. So 3 team fouls on the Lady Bulldogs in the opening 1:24 of the quarter.
Jessica Williams is so explosive off the bounce. Here she just puts her head down, gets to the rim, and draws the foul. You almost could have called it on either Hose or Stady.
Jessica Williams is an interesting story. She's from nearby Augusta, about an hour and 15 minutes away. Played at Laney High School. Really did not have any offers in high school. The AAU coach called Alex Simmons when she got the job at Gardner Webb and said, I got a kid you want to look at. And that was her first recruit. She signed her, brought her on board before she even had an assistant coaching staff.
No, she's done. She's all Big South freshman team a year ago, and she's still developing as far as her all-around skill set goes, but her athleticism is obvious as soon as she steps on the floor.
Hose misses the 3, and Savannah Plintovich across the half-court line. Her bounce pass got ricocheted off the leg of a Lady Bulldog. Carly Plentovich hits the three-pointer. Now, if you give her a shot like that coming off a screen, she's going to bury that.
Well, give Koso credit because she did a great little cross screen for Plentovich to rub tight off of that to get open for the shot.
She's going to be one of the best three-point shooters you see all season. She's 46.5%, which leads the Big South, and she's number 3 in 2.5 three-point makes per game. Stolen by Chapman, and Chloe Chapman will lay it in. That's where she can really help Georgia this year, her speed on the defensive end. She gets the steal. She's going to get a layup. No one's going to run her down. And that's going to be an offensive foul on Chloe Chapman, however. Good job by the veteran Carly Plentovich to get position on her and draw the foul.
I'm going to say as much as toughness by Carly Plentovich to move her feet and get in the path of Chloe Chapman.
Just a really good job. That's kind of a veteran move right there on the freshman.
And I got to tell you, Matt, watching games over the last couple of weeks throughout college women's basketball, I've seen so many guards especially just take a step in front of post players' paths and draw those fouls because people aren't paying attention. So I don't know if this is going to be a trend this season, but hey, players out there, get your head up.
And a timeout called. Alex Simmons did not want her to call that timeout. Jessica Williams fell down on top of the ball, was in a jam, used the timeout, and we'll take a break.
Who do you think of when I say hero? Is it someone in a cape or is it someone you know? In SEC country, being a hero means tutoring a struggling student, feeding hungry neighbors in your community, or showing up at a hospital to make a child's day a little brighter. Heroes are all around us, and Belk wants to celebrate them with what we're calling Project Hometown Heroes. We'll show you everyday heroes that are strengthening the communities around the SEC. Now, who do you think of when I say hero? Learn more at belk.com/Project Hometown.
Life's better with a friend by your side. A friend that's always honest with you. No. A friend that trusts you. A friend that will never hold you back. Say hello to your friend in wireless.
Back in Athens as we check out the NCAA storylines for the week. Number 7 Louisville winning their big rivalry game with number 14 Kentucky 67-66. Landrum NCAA record 14 three-pointers, and Jones the ESPNW Player of the Week for Iowa State.
Well, Ashley Jones put up 41 points. She should be the Player of the Week.
No doubt.
We're talking about the Plenovich's sisters' ability to score. Ashley Jones is just a single person who has the ability to put those kinds of numbers up every night. Can beat you off the bounce, post you up, and knock it down from 3.
Here, Georgia has a 30-17 lead on Gardner Webb. Alex Simmons, Gardner Webb, 5-3 on the season, 2-2 on the road, 2-0 this past week. A 65-62 win at Mercer on Friday after a 67-65 win against Delaware last Sunday. So 2-0 by a combined 5 points this week, winning tight basketball games. Kozo puts it on the floor and puts it in.
Well, we said the post players from Gardner Webb all had the ability to take it off the bounce. There, Laura Kozo just takes it strong to the rim.
Bounce inside to Bates and missed the layup. That's the second time she's missed up close. Plentovich. Nice hanging in the air, but didn't get the ball to fall for. Morrison takes the long lead pass. Bates again, mid-range. She's 0 for 3.
And Bates was open because Q Morrison did a pass fake to Nicholson down low that forced Bates' player to come across. Unfortunately, Mallory couldn't knock it down.
Caponegro, three-point attempt. Bates the rebound. Morrison able to save it over here on the sideline. Caldwell, feet set, three-pointer on its way and missed. An offensive rebound for Bates. Chapman inside for Nicholson, scoops it up and in. 6 for Nicholson.
Great body control with that little thread pass by Chloe Chapman as Nicholson gets the ball out of the air and avoids contact with the defender to knock it down.
Three-point miss by Bevis. Long baseball pass to Morrison. Kick ball by Plintovich. Here's that nice touch pass you were talking about to Nicholson.
Started with an offensive rebound by Mallory Bates, and then Chloe Chapman starts to go up with it, sees Nicholson streaking back to the rim, knocks it, and then, hits her open, and then Nicholson does the rest of the work by knocking it down.
Bates comes off the floor as Stady comes back on, and as Bates was walking to the bench, Joni Taylor intercepted her before she could get there and had some words for her. She's obviously very frustrated. Another basket by Nicholson, quickly putting together her finest Bulldog game. That's 8 now for her, 4 or 5 from the floor with 3 rebounds in 8 minutes.
Well, when the exam period ended for UGA, I asked Joni Taylor, what are some areas specifically to players that you're looking for them to improve on? And she said for Javin Nicholson, the game's coming to her. She's just got to get in better game shape so we can play her longer. You're seeing some of the fruits of that labor today.
A couple of layups now for Hose as Georgia back out to a 17-point lead here. This is their largest lead. It had been 16 and a three-pointer there by Savannah Plintovich. We talked about Carly hitting the three-point shot. She doesn't hit the three quite as efficiently as Carly does, but she's pretty good in her own right. She's number 5 in the conference in threes per game at 2.1. Hose again. That must be a record. 3 layups for Hose in a game.
But great read, not only by Jenna Stady, but also by Caitlin Hose. Knew that she was overplayed, so she just cut back door. Great pass, good finish.
Rebound Caldwell. Inside out. And see, the basket, I believe, will be waved off here. Yep, basket will not count.
Love the aggressive nature by Maya Caldwell. But before that, Jenna Stady had Plintovich guarding her, and she faded out to the short corner. I would have loved to see Jen Stady stay on the block and demand the ball there. Unfortunately, Maya Caldwell drives it down and gets called for the charge.
You got to love the intensity and tenacity with which these Plintovich sisters play. They're not afraid to step in there and take a charge. That's the second time we've seen that here in the first half.
I feel like I just need to tell their mother and father to have the ice bath waiting for them because they are playing a physical game today.
They are. They play quickly. They move with and without the basketball.
And Matt, that is it in a nutshell. I think they do as much when the ball is not in their hands to prepare them for when the ball hits their hands to make the offense easy.
Stady just called for her second, so Gardner Webb in the bonus the rest of the way here.
Shooting 2 for Gardner Webb, number 10, Savannah Plintovich.
So Plintovich at the line. She's the number 1 free throw shooter in the Big South Conference. That's a little bit misleading because her sister Carly shoots 90% but does not have enough free throw attempts to qualify for among the leaders. So Savannah does, so she's number 1 in the conference, although she's not number 1 on her team or in her own family.
And I'm sure Big Sister reminds her of that constantly.
Fumbled out of bounds by Chapman. Georgia commits their 8th turnover. Gardner Webb does a really good job of turning the opponents. They force 21 turnovers per game, which is number 2 in the Big South.
And you see it sometimes with teams who press for 40 minutes. Gardner Webb does not. They sporadically will throw out full court pressure. They can pick you up with a little bit of a run and jump at times or a 1-2, but they are just fundamentally sound in the half court, waiting for you to make a mistake.
Caponegro had a good move, but couldn't get it to fall for herself. Hose, three-pointer, bang. Hose with 9.
Well, that started with Chloe Chapman imitating Jake Fromm with her baseball pass from that to get UGA out in transition early, and then Caitlin just spotted it to knock it down.
Caponegro with the second chance point. Stady, off back iron, gets her own miss. Hose, new career high for Caitlin Hose. Here in the first half alone, she now has 12.
Well, I mentioned she had been struggling with her shot, and she has been missing badly. Every shot's looked good. It's just been slightly off. Nice to see her be able to knock them down today.
Nicholson the rebound. Outlet comes to Caldwell. Pull up. And Williams got the rebound, got fouled by Hose. How about Caitlin Hose? 5 of 6 shooting from the floor and 2 of 3 on her threes.
Well, started off with a couple of easy layups, got herself set up. Here in transition, she spots up and knocks it down. Next possession down the floor. Hey, I'm feeling it. Spots up, knocks it down yet again.
And already a new career high for Caitlin Hose in this game, the sophomore out of Alabama, as Williams back on the other end hits the free throw for Gardner Webb. Gardner Webb now 8 of 10 at the free throw line in this game. Seconds to play in the half. Nicholson underneath, puts it in, and one. And a new career high for Nicholson. So in the first half alone, we've seen Caitlin Hose and Javin Nicholson record new career highs.
Well, UGA struggled on the offensive glass against UCLA, so something tells me it was a point of emphasis the last 2 days in practice. Here, Javin Nicholson just attacks that miss, grabs it, puts it in, and draws the foul.
First double-figure scoring game of her career. So Hose and Nicholson have combined for 22 of Georgia's 46. Houston the miss. There's a difference of 3 seconds shot clock, game clock here in the first half. Ten on the shot clock. Chapman, feed to Stady. Passed up the open look, gives it to Hose instead. And Hose did not get the bounce that time. Caldwell underneath. And the clock is going to wind down, and that basket will count. Caldwell with the basket at the horn. And Georgia with a 19-point lead. Make it 21 with that basket as the teams head to the locker room.
Give UGA credit for their tenacity on the offensive glass in that possession. The officials are going to the review right now just to make sure that it counts. But I got to say, I thought Maya Caldwell went up high for that first offensive rebound.
Yeah, take a look at the replay right here to see if Caldwell beat the buzzer. Watch for the red backboard. That'll be your big clue. Yeah, she got it off in time, no doubt about it. And a 48-27 lead for Georgia as the teams head to the locker room. And a first half to remember for Caitlin Hose, a new career high for her with 12, and Javin Nicholson, a new career high 10 for her. So Georgia in command here as we head to halftime.
Who are you most intrigued to see?
Well, it's a matchup that Coach and Dari were just touching on, Virginia Tech versus Kentucky. When you think about a one-dimensional offense, one that averaged 274 rushing yards, and then when you looked at the transition that Kentucky made quarterback with Lynn Bowden versus a Virginia Tech defense that is headed by Bud Foster and a guy that is a historic defensive mind and what obviously would be his last game as the Hokie defensive coordinator, the idea that he's going to be facing what is truly a one-dimensional offense, I think that that's a fascinating matchup, especially considering the work that Eddie Grand did throughout this season as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
You're talking about two great coordinator minds. It'll be interesting to see how they match up. And when you look at the non-SEC contenders.
This is the thing I'm most excited for you to tell me about.
Where do you see this? James Lynch for Baylor. And he's a defensive lineman. They run that 3-3-5, a guy that spends time on the edge, on that offensive tackle. He does a great job of getting into the offensive backfield. 18.5 tackles for loss, 12.5 sacks. He's incredibly disruptive, the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year versus a Georgia offense that is clearly floundering. He is a name to know in that contest in the Sugar Bowl because he could be incredibly disruptive to what the Bulldogs want to be offensively.
Make sure you let your Georgia boys know to keep an eye on James
No
Lynch,
doubt,
okay?
yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to talk about the SEC breakout star. Well, this guy admittedly had a breakout game against Vanderbilt, 246 yards rushing against the Commodores, 2 long touchdown runs. I think we're going to see him have a big role in the postseason here, but let's not leave it only to Eric Ray. They'll be playing against an Indiana defense that's 9th in the Big Ten when it comes to stopping the run. And how about this offensive line? What was supposed to be a weakness in the beginning of the season has become a strength. Brandon Kennedy, Trey Smith. I know those guys have got to impress you with the job they've done.
Oh, man, and Trey Smith at left guard. You know, if that kid could practice the way most college football players normally practice, there's no telling how good he could be. He still projects to be a fantastic player on Sundays.
All right, you're going to call me a homer, but the 5-star lock to win.
You're such a homer.
Yeah, I told you you were going to call me.
Unbelievable.
It's the Gators, right? They're the 9th in the college football playoff rankings against the 24th ranked UVA Who's. So I think it's a mismatch in terms of that defense going up against Bryce Perkins. We talked about the one-man show that offense is. I think it's going to be a game that goes Florida's way. If it was my take everything I got, lay it on here, I'm taking the Gators to win it all.
Most intriguing matchup, where you start?
Well, I don't think there's any question. I got to go with Michigan, Alabama, because, I mean, look, PB, look, what is the big question? How is Alabama going to respond to what happened at the end of the year? And let's not forget, not only was it just a very disappointing loss in the Iron Bowl, but now, hindsight, 2020, it really knocked them out of the college football playoff. What's the mindset of Alabama? How many guys are going to dip out of this thing and not play? But I will remind you, in the 2010 season, same thing happened. They went and beat an 11-1 Michigan State team and beat their brains
But
out.
this is huge for both coaches, right? I mean, this is the first time since, 2010, we're talking about Alabama losing 2 games in the regular season. And for Jim Harbaugh, again, 0-5 against Ohio State, trying to get that off of his back. Both of these teams need that one. All right, so when you start looking at non-SEC player to know, where are we going?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a guy named Josh Uche. And this guy right here,
Get to know his name.
Get to know his name because Alabama's going to have to find a way to block this guy. He's got 8.5 sacks on the year. That's not even in 12 games. That's 10 games. And he's got 11.5 tackles for loss. He is a guy that creates negative plays. You want to protect Mac Jones, right? You better look where this guy's every snap. this guy can go and get off the edge and create havoc.
He's like Baby Yoda. You know, he's been everywhere. That's exactly what Josh has been for that team. And ultimately, we saw a couple of pick sixes in the Iron Bowl for Mac Jones going up against a good front. SEC breakout star.
I got to go with my man Bo Nix, because you know what? He's not a freshman anymore, PB. It is time for him, and he's going to get some time to practice and get the game plan. When he comes back, they're going to give him some time off, let exams happen, and then all of a sudden, he's going to come back. He's going to feel like a salty vet. And again, let's remember, he ended on a high note in the Iron Bowl. Look, his stats aren't going to jump off the page at you, but you know what he did? He won. What do quarterbacks get measured by?
Yep.
How many wins they have? This is an opportunity for Auburn to come with probably the most difficult schedule in the country, if not one of the top 2 or 3, and get a 10-win season.
He had the big win against Oregon in a neutral field. He had the Iron Bowl and won that game. And we saw Gus Malzahn over at the SEC Championship game a while back. He looked happy. Remember what happened last year against Purdue in that bowl game? 100%. They put, I think, up about 100 points. Looking forward to that one. 5-star lock of the century. Where are you going?
Well, the SEC people are going to love this one. I'm going LSU.
Okay.
And I know that makes you happy, PB, right? It makes them happy. But here's what I truly believe. I've watched a football team in the last 2 weeks really kind of gel and come together as a complete football team. We don't have to go through all of the ins and outs of how great the offense has been. Yep. Now I see a healthy defense against Texas A&M. 169 total yards is what they gave up. They had 6 sacks, 3 picks. In the SEC championship game, they held Georgia to under 300 yards of total offense. I see him healthy. Grant Delpit looks healthy. Rashard Lawrence looks healthy. Glenn Logan. And I think all the people around, the way Stingley's playing, the way Fulton's playing, I just think it's now a very complete football team. And I think this is a no-brainer win against an Oklahoma team that's been so-so on defense during the year.
Another team I might look at, Mississippi State. I think Joe Moorhead wants to make a point and get his Bulldogs off in his first postseason win as well.
Who do you think of when I say hero? Is it someone in a cape or is it someone you know? In SEC country, being a hero means tutoring a struggling student, feeding hungry neighbors in your community, or showing up at a hospital to make a child's day a little brighter. Heroes are all around us, and Belk wants to celebrate them with what we're calling Project Hometown Heroes. We'll show you everyday heroes that are strengthening the communities around the SEC. Now, who do you think of when I say hero? Learn more at belk.com/Project Hometown.
Hey guys, this is my friend Barry.
Unlimited data, Barry?
Ranked #1 in customer service by J.D. Power, Barry.
Let me take your coat, you little award winner, you.
Actually, that's my fur. Oh, be careful of the man's fur.
And welcome back. Halftime here at the Stegman Coliseum. Georgia leading Gardner Webb 46-27. And I know you're saying, wait a second, I thought it was 48-27. Well, we thought so too. But the officials looked back at the final shot by Maya Caldwell as we were going to break, and they determined that the ball did not leave her hands in time. And guess what? They got it right, I think.
Well, kudos to the officials, because in slow motion, I had a hard time discerning the difference. But here, we slowed it down well enough that you can clearly see ball still in the hands as the lights go off on the backboard, no basket.
They got it right, and that's what replay's for. So 46-27 does not take away what was a career-high setting first half for Caitlin Hose and Javin Nicholson. And Caitlin Hose, 5 of 7 shooting from the floor.
You've been waiting for Hose to break out all season long, and it started off for her in transition with a couple of layups. Then she spots up in transition in the deep corner, knocks it down, a run out in transition for an easy layup, and then she takes it herself off the bounce to finish at the rim.
And how about Nicholson? She's got a new career high, and she's got a great shot at a double-double. She's at 10.7 rebounds at the half.
Nicholson came in only averaging 3 points a game already with 10. And she's done it by showing her agility, her body control, a couple of lead passes. She avoids defensive contact to score, and then she just powers it up to get the and one.
So all in all, an impressive first half for Georgia as they have a 19-point lead as we get ready to start the second half. And you take a look at the numbers combined for Nicholson as they were a combined 10 for 13 shooting, 9 rebounds, and the 22 points. The one piece of bad news for Georgia Remember, we saw Stephanie Paul come out in the opening 1+ minute. Apparently, she suffered a knee injury. No clue on the severity of that. She is on the bench right now, but doubtful that she's going to come back in.
Well, you definitely don't want to speculate. You hope that what it is Joni Taylor and her staff know, hey, we have a couple of extra days. Break, rest for her. Let's not risk anything and just let her ride out today's game.
And, of course, you know Stephanie has a long history of bad knees. In fact, there have been times over the last couple of years where she doesn't even practice. She just plays in the games. As you see Stephanie Paul working on that knee over there, averaging right at 7 points and 5 rebounds per game.
Well, she's kind of that energizer for this team, the glue on defense. It says a lot about her game that she doesn't, I'm not saying she doesn't need to practice, but that she is capable of not getting the reps in practice and then comes out and performs game in and game out for the Lady Bulldogs.
Morrison got fouled by Plentovich, Carly Plentovich, and so Morrison's going to go to the line for 2. Yeah, so the official word from the Georgia bench is that they are just resting Stephanie Paul. You can see she's got some kind of contraption over there that's flashing a red light. I'm not sure what that is. She's got a contraption on her right knee that's flashing a red light. So, again, she's got a history of this. And like you said, SEC plays coming up in 2 weeks. You're going to need her for that.
Well, thought processes by coaches change when there's rest on the other side of a game. If this was a do-or-die game, if UGA didn't already have a 20-point lead, thought process might be different. But I completely agree with the UGA coaching staff right now. Don't risk anything. Let her rest. Let her get a couple extra days after today's game of additional rest and recovery, and then come back and get ready for SEC play.
So this 21-point lead for Georgia, which we thought they had at the end of the first half, now they have early in the second half, is their largest lead of the game.
Matt, this Gardner Webb offense can go to a 5-out, but it's predicated on so many screens, and we've already seen them get called for a couple of moving screens already to this point in the game. Matt, we've said a lot about how many points Gabby Conley's been averaging. She only had 4 first-half points, but the bench for UGA had 27. That's why the Lady Bulldogs are such in control of this game.
Yeah, Conley took only 2 shots and hit them both. 5 on the shot clock. Isaacs with 2 on the clock, and now Morrison takes the 3 and hit it. So Q Morrison with her second 3-pointer of the game, and she's got 8. She's the other one that I think Georgia really looks to provide a little bit more offense. She's averaging 3 points per game less here in her junior year than she did in her freshman year.
Well, freshman year, she was relatively healthy.
Yep.
Last year, had a knee injury early in the season, really derailed her until conference play about midway through where she really hit her stride. This summer as well, an injury that held her out throughout their trip to Italy and then the early part of preseason. I think we're finally seeing her hit her stride both offensively as well as defensively.
Well, here in the game today, Morrison 8 points and 3 rebounds in 13 minutes as Caponegro at the line for Gardner Webb. That's just a 3rd miss for the running Bulldogs tonight, or today at the free throw line. They start conference play their next game coming up this weekend against Longwood on Saturday is their Big South opener.
As a coach, I always like to have a game in between the holiday break and the beginning of conference season. But unfortunately for Big South play, they don't have that opportunity with the number of teams they got, or number of games they got to get in.
Stady has 8 points. Carly Plentovich rolled off the rim. Caldwell scoops it up, gives it to Morrison. Stady running the floor, caught it over her shoulder like a tight end but traveled. Carly comes out to get the ball. Carly Plentovich is more of the three-point shooter. Savannah's more of the playmaker. It ends up in her hands. But she can shoot the 3-2, misses that time. And Caponegro commits the foul going for the loose ball.
The most open look that Savannah Plentovich has had, and I almost feel like she rushed it just a little bit because she has not had those open looks. And then Gabby Conley grabs that rebound and gets fouled.
That's going to be a turnover. That was not after a made basket, so you cannot move on the baseline. After a made basket, you can, but after a dead ball situation, you can't. So that's officially a traveling on Isaac.
I love that she kept her options open, but you nailed it on the head, Matt. You got to keep those feet still on a dead ball turnover.
Plentovich with the basket. So Carly Plentovich now has 7. Her sister Savannah has 9. So 16 of the 30 scored by the Twins, which is not unusual. Gabby splitting the defense, missed the floater. That's her first miss of the day. And out of bounds off Georgia.
Matt, nothing has been easy for either Plentovich, but here Carly turns the corner off of the on-ball screen, elevates, and knocks down the jumper.
Carly Plentovich is the reigning Big South Player of the Week. Had a season-best 20 points last Sunday. 4 of 6 on her threes, 8 of 8 in the line, 3 steals against Delaware. It's the third time she's won the award in her career. Caponegro inside the line. Second basket for Caponegro. She has 5. She averages 7 a game. She scored 23 total the last 2 games during their 2-game winning streak.
Had a big 13 points against Mercer on the road on Friday night. Was eager to see how she'd respond today against a much bigger UGA post team.
Reach foul by Jessica Williams. Second foul on her. 14 fouls on Gardner Webb. They've committed 13 total fouls in the game. Kayla Hubbard in the game for the first time, and she got fouled.
Set play on the sideline out of bounds by UGA, running a little back screen for Hubbard to go to the rim. Good execution, good patience by Hubbard to set it up, and then just draws the foul.
Hubbard averages right over 3 points per game, and that was just her 5th free throw attempt of the season. Had the best game of her career a couple of weeks ago against Villanova. Scored 10 points, 5 of 7 shooting in that 5-point loss.
Matt, when Q went in to send Nicholson back, I was like, get ready for the press. That's what most coaches do to get your post player back and set up solid on defense. And here we see it from UGA, full court pressure.
Long pass to Kane, going to pull up on the run. Conley got the rebound and got knocked out of bounds. She knocked out of bounds by her own player.
I would call that a foul, but the official's not going to call a foul on your own teammate. Nicholson just took Gabby Conley out.
Nicholson couldn't keep her balance and fell into Conley and knocked her out of bounds. Kozo was helping too. She was kind of pushing on that play. Bevis on the dribble there for Gardner Webb. In trouble in a double team, lost out of bounds. She's an interesting player. She was a homeschool player out of High Point, North Carolina. Her grandfather and her father both played for the Gardner Webb football team during their day. But she's a player that Coach Simmons says they're having to teach her how to play with other really good players. In the homeschool league, she was the star player. Didn't necessarily have a lot of great talent around her. Of course, when you get to this level, that all changes.
Well, I think that's for most high school players. You're used to the ball being in your hands. As you go, your team goes. And so I do feel like Bevis's transition is natural to most freshmen, and especially freshman point guards. What do you do when the ball's not in your hands is just as important as when it is in your hands.
Shot clock violation on Gardner Webb. In the midst of all that, they lost track of the time, and they needed to shoot as soon as the ball came in and didn't get the shot off.
Well, I was going to say, we can talk about transitioning, but as a point guard, you always need to know time and score. That's a cardinal sin not to know how much time is left on the shot clock.
Shania Jones drives and hits the runner. First basket for Jones. That gives her 3. She hit a free throw earlier in the game. And Savannah Plintovich draws the foul, goes to the line and 1. They're a good study for the younger players that we've talked about who rush their shots. The Plintovich twins are never in a rush. Even when they're moving fast, they're never rushing.
And Matt, I'm not going to say they're not slow, don't get me wrong, but it's not like they're explosive or so fast, but they both have great changes of pace, and that allows them to get themselves open and create offensive opportunities.
Inside Nicholson, and 1. Nicholson continuing to add to her new career high total.
Matt, sometimes as a post player, the best thing you can do is just present your numbers to your perimeter players. They're in transition. Nicholson just gets big on the weak side, shows her numbers, hands are ready, and then does the work to knock it down.
So Nicholson at the line, as we've said many times before, Collins Hill High School. Any women's college basketball fan knows the name of that high school. It's the home of Maya Moore. And Nia Lee, who plays for Gardner Webb, also plays at the same high school. Pressure by George in the backcourt, and
there was a change
Carla
of possession,
Fountain.
but the shot clock didn't change.
There you go. See Carla Fountain, the veteran official, with the ball under her arm, taking control of the game.
I don't know that I've ever seen a game that Carla hasn't been in control of the game.
Yeah, she's one of the best.
I completely agree. Well, Matt, you talk about Collins Hill as far as the state of Georgia goes. I want to talk about Shelbyville, where Alex Fuller went to school, the equivalent as far as Tennessee high school basketball goes.
No doubt about it, and Alex led them to 3 state championships. And a timeout with 4:51 to play here in the third quarter. Georgia rolling out to a big lead in this one.
My name is Mo Hassan, and my nonprofit Second Spoon. We're taking surplus foods and we're distributing them to the homeless in different communities. When I first got to college, I saw firsthand in the cafeterias just how much food was wasted. We need to find a way to repurpose these foods. Just seeing firsthand the homeless people's faces when we bring them food and positively affect them in that way is amazing. I just know it's more than football, and we have a platform, and I think we owe it to the community to use that platform for good.
Learn more at belk.com/Project Hometown.
Georgia with a big lead in this one with just under 5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Matt Stewart along with Coach Christy Thomas-Cuddy. And let's check out the top 25 scoreboard today. Number 5, South Carolina, picking up their 6th consecutive victory. Lily Grissett was 17 to lead the Gamecocks over number 25, South Dakota.
And UCLA continues their road swing with a big win over Indiana. Anya Wede with 25 points in the win. But the upset of the day, Stanford goes to Texas and is no longer undefeated. Huge day for Collier of Texas. 20 points, 19 rebounds. Texas with 19 offensive rebounds to seal the win.
And they're going down to the wire in Tallahassee with number 8 Florida State on top of number 24 Michigan. 68-65, now under 2 to play, and we'll keep you updated on that score as we go along. So we're going to have the same thing in women's college basketball that we've had on the men's side. I think I've lost track. we might now be up to number 6 number ones that have been beaten here before conference play. Well, traditional conference play. Everybody's starting conference play in the month of December now, but before the traditional January beginning of conference play, I should say.
Well, Stanford became number 1 about almost 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
But then they were on exam break for a better part of a week and a half, so they maintained that number 1 slot. Tennessee came to town. They handled them mightily. They hit the road, and honestly, Texas had been struggling so much to this point in the year, but now they've put together 2 quality wins at Tennessee and now over number 1 Stanford.
So Carly Plentovich has 8, her sister Savannah 12, so 20 of the 36 for Gardner Webb from the Twins. Shania Jones, no-look pass. Hubbard missed up close, keeps it alive. Nicholson gets another rebound and got fouled. She'll go to the line. So she's now 2 rebounds away from her first career double-double.
And Matt, I've worked with you long enough that I'm going to say, don't say that anymore, so that she has a chance to get her double-double. You have an amazing ability to jinx these young ladies.
It usually only works on free throws, Coach. Come on.
I'm a big fan of the double-double, so.
Okay, I won't say anything until she gets it. How about that?
Perfect.
Nice touch on that one.
You know, Matt, some fans at home might be wondering, why is UGA pressing and they're up like this? This is still non-conference. This is still tune-ups for both these teams. Coaches want to see how players respond to different situations, different defenses, different offenses. So this is still a learning mode for coaches as well as players.
And I think just from an intensity standpoint, you get the big lead, which Georgia's had pretty much since the start of the game in the first quarter. You don't want to see your team coast. You're not going to play again until this time next Sunday against East Carolina. You're getting ready to send them home for the holidays, so they're going to be coasting at home. You don't want to see them coasting out here on the floor.
Well, and you look at someone like Shania Jones, only her 3rd game of the season. So she still needs reps in everything, whether it's sideline out of bounds, presses, half-court offenses. She still needs those experiences. And the coaching staff still need to see how she'll respond in those different environments.
So bonus time here for Gardner Webb. So Plentovich at the line. She's now 2 for 3 at the line in this game. She's 20 for 23 on the season. But like I said, she's not number 1 in the Big South because she doesn't have enough attempts. Her sister is number 1 in the Big South.
You can't blame opponents when she's knocking them down like that. No one wants to foul her.
Ahead to Shania Jones, working against 2 players, now 3, passes out of it. Hubbard inside Nicholson. Oh, man. She put it on the floor, which she probably should not have done. And Plentovich hits the 3-pointer. That's her 2nd of the game. And Carly Plentovich now in leading, or pardon me, that was Savannah who got the 3-pointer. And so she has 15.
Well, that's the great thing. If you're a running Bulldog fan, you're never out of the game because of the 3-point shooting prowess of Gardner Webb. And here, just stops and pop does Carly Plentovich with that 3.
Yeah, I was right. It confused me because on our scoreboard here, on our stat monitor, they gave the points to Savannah, her sister. They credited her. Now they fixed it.
I was going to say.
They're trying to fix it now. Yeah. Carly got the 3, not Savannah, but they gave the points to Savannah. How many times do you think that's happened in there?
Well, and that's why for me, even preparing for today, I was like, all right, how do I differentiate? And that's the right hand is Carly, the left-handed shooter is going to be Savannah.
Carly's the brunette, and Savannah's got blonde hair. Now they fixed it. So Carly now leads Savannah 13-12 on the family tote board. Another 3-pointer for Carly Plentovich. Her 3rd, she has 16. Jones driving, shot it over the hoop. Plentovich, Savannah, and the rebound. Kayla Hubbard Conley behind the back. Now going to circle around and reset the offense.
It's amazing how that happens when your head coach is standing right there. That point guard knows to pull it out.
Foul's going to be called on Savannah Plentovich. And so Georgia shooting bonus. Gabby Conley with 5 points. This would be just the 4th game all season that she has not led Georgia in scoring. 8 of the 11. Including the 16 she had against UCLA on Thursday. It's not been a game where she's needed to lead the team in scoring.
And honestly, I think this is a good thing as UGA continues to evolve this season. So much pressure has been on Gabby to score, to lead them on defense, lead them on offense. And she didn't hardly play in that second quarter. So it was the younger players getting those minutes where Gabby would normally have been filling up some shots and filling up the stats.
Caponegro puts it in. 3rd basket for her. She's got 7. I was thinking about that today as I was preparing for this game, and you know how difficult it must be for Gabby Conley to be and have so much pressure on her to be the scorer for this Georgia team, and how desperately the Lady Bulldogs need some other players to step forward and help her out on the offensive end.
Well, I asked Joni Taylor earlier this week, because in the losses, both Conley and Maya Caldwell have struggled offensively. And I said, what do the rest of your team need to do when they're struggling? And she said, no. Gabby Conley, Maya Caldwell, and Jenna Stady have to score for us. That's the responsibility of putting on the Lady Bulldog uniform. Now, do we need point production from everyone else? Yes. But we can get that through the offense, through the defense, through rebounding. But those 3 have to score for us.
Caitlin Hose is going to go to the line and see if she can add to her career high total of 12. Nia Lee is called for the foul. And you can see Nia Lee, number 22 for Gardner Webb. She's coming out of the game, and 35 Nicholson. Those were former high school teammates at Collins Hill. Lee a couple of years ahead of Nicholson, and she'll go to the bench. And Hose at the line. She's only had 6 free throw attempts the entire season, and now 7. She's 5 for 7 this year. So a rare occurrence, not 1 but 2 players with new career highs. Both of them with 14 points. Stolen by Conley, and then a foul on Savannah Plentovich. And Plentovich picks up her 2nd personal foul. That should be a bonus. Why is that not bonus, Coach?
I think she's saying right now that
it was a loose ball?
Loose ball. Conley did not have control of the ball.
Gotcha.
Therefore, they're side out of bounds.
I thought she had stolen it and had control. Carla Fountain saw it the other way.
Well, honestly, the officials were behind because the way Conley poked it and went with it. But I agree with you, Matt. I do think she had control and should have had free throws.
Dropped it off. Nice pass by Conley.
Very unselfish play by Gabby Conley to set her teammate up.
3 assists now for Conley today. Hubbard, the steal and spin move in the open court. Bounce pass to Chapman. Feed to Nicholson. That was nicely done. Another steal for Georgia.
Well, in the last minute, you're just seeing much more active hands by the UGA players. They've deflected 3 straight possessions and turned Gardner Webb over.
Nicholson sets the screen. Chapman feeds to Hubbard. Hubbard off glass. 17 assists now for Georgia on their 24 makes. Knutson. She's another local player, played in the Atlanta area at Alpharetta High School. Down to 1 on the clock, and Hose at the buzzer off the mark, and that is the end of the third quarter. Third consecutive quarter, Coach. Georgia scored 20-plus points.
Well, we were looking for consistency, and when you can set your teammates up for easy scoring opportunities, that happens. There, Gabby Conley to Hubbard, and then Hubbard herself in transition. Dishes to Chloe Chapman, who lays it up for Nicholson yet again to score in transition.
My name is Mo Hassan, and my nonprofit Second Spoon. We're taking surplus foods and we're distributing them to the homeless in different communities. When I first got to college, I saw firsthand in the cafeterias just how much food was wasted. We need to find a way to repurpose these foods. Just seeing firsthand the homeless people's faces when we bring them food and positively affect them in that way is amazing. I just know it's more than football, and we have a platform, and I think we owe it to the community to use that platform for good.
Learn more at belk.com/projecthometown.
Hey guys, this is my friend Barry.
Unlimited data, Barry?
Ring #1 in customer service by J.D. Power, Barry.
Let me take your coat, you little award winner, you.
Actually, that's my fur. Oh, be careful of the man's fur.
We are just 11 days from the start of conference play in the Southeastern Conference. 11 of the 14 teams over 500. And, Coach, a look at the best of the best.
There's good, and then there's great. And all these young ladies are doing it not one-dimensionally. They're not just scoring, but you've got assists, you've got rebounds, you've got playmakers. This SEC season is going to be so exciting because what I see from these 5 players especially, it's not just a couple of points. They score in bunches in how they lead their team.
And when you look at Kennedy Carter, 23 points per game, 4 assists per game, do the math. That's 31 points per game that she herself is bringing to the table.
And, Matt, the thing about Kennedy's game right now is she's not really doing it from the three-point line. She's doing it so much from 2, off the bounce, creating. And that's what's remarkable because a lot of times when you're putting up that many points, a lot of that's three-pointers or you're a post player shooting at point-blank range.
Start of the fourth quarter, updating. Florida State did hold on to beat Michigan. We showed you that score a few moments ago, and they had the lead with less than 2 to play. So the 8th-ranked Seminoles knock off the 24th-ranked Wolverines today in a big Power 5, top 25 ranked non-conference matchup. And a foul away from the ball.
That actually is fortuitous for Gardner Webb. So I think that was going to be a run out for UGA to get an easy 2 in transition.
Knutson was called for the foul. The freshman who came in, a 3-star signee for Coach Alex Simmons' team.
Matt, by my calculation, I think it's 5 off-ball fouls now for Gardner Webb on offense.
Yeah. You can see Bates is back in the ball game for Georgia. That's the first time since the first half. She did not play in that third quarter. Gets fed the ball and put in. That's nice to see. After she was 0 for 4 in this game, first time she touches it here in the fourth quarter, she scores the basket. And that's been a thing with Joni Taylor all season long in regard to Mallory Bates, is her following one good game with another. The lack of consistency has been the issue.
Absolutely. And when there's depth, because you're talking about Stady now, you're talking about Nicholson, you're talking about Isaacs, you've got to differentiate yourself. And so you need to be consistent. When your number's called, you have to deliver.
Bevis off the mark on the three-pointer. You saw Georgia's extreme advantage in depth in this ball game. 45 bench points to Gardner Webb's 3, which has brought about a couple of players recording career highs. Nicholson was 16, not on the floor right now. Hose with 14, and she is on the floor right now.
Matt, and sometimes it's about player combinations together. You talked about how Bates didn't play in the third. Well, sometimes, and I don't know this for a fact, but with Nicholson on the floor. How does Nicholson play with Bates on the floor versus in this situation, Isaacs with Bates on the court?
Chapman with 2 has to take a long 3, and that'll be a shot clock violation. But since the rebound went to Gardner Webb, they play on. Houston misses. Houston's 1 for 5 in the game. And the offensive foul on Georgia. And that's going to be number 1 on Bates.
And Matt, this is what I was saying. I'm seeing so much around the country right now. Our perimeter players just holding ground in transition and post players not paying attention and knocking them over and getting called for those fouls. And it's a foul.
Oh, it is.
Plinovich was set. Bates just runs right through her.
Foul on Houston. And you're right, it is a foul. But how do you feel about, I mean, that was away from the ball. It's not, the ball's not there. I guess what I'm trying to say is no harm, no foul, right? It doesn't really impact the play right there. Williams on the drive.
I think where it gets a little, where I'm going to have to disagree is that you've got to protect players. And the flip side of that is you have to see the player in front of you. I agree, don't call it if the player rushes in there and you didn't have a chance to see it. But in the ones that we were witnessing with Bates, she was set and Bates just didn't see her in time. Or I should say, didn't respond to her being
correct,
there.
Yeah. Williams hits the free throw. 6 points for Jessica Williams. Hose with 14 points in the game. 12 came in the first half. No starters on the floor for Georgia right now. Maybe not for the rest of the game. Shania Jones out of control there. And the put in by Nicholson. 18 for Nicholson. And another rebound. So, Coach, I can say it, a double-double.
There you go.
Offensive foul on Gardner Webb. So Nicholson now with a double-double, 18 points, 10 rebounds.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of players would just assume a made layup and hang out at the 3, but not Javin Nicholson. She follows Jones in, goes up to get that rebound, grabs it, puts it in for, yes, Matt, her double-double.
I'm thinking we're going to get our first chance to interview Javin Nicholson after the game.
I've already made the request, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well, there is no doubt she has had a spectacular game. Good to see her have it, too. Chapman whips it to the corner. Shania Jones misses on the three-point shot. Long outlet for Williams. Beats Jones down the floor and lays it in.
And Joni Taylor walks to the other end because that transition should not have occurred. UGA just got caught jogging back instead of on the miss, sprinting back to get back on defense.
And that's why Maya Caldwell is up off the bench and getting ready to come back in.
And this is part of the youth on the floor for UGA. You don't play the scoreboard. You play to execution standards.
Nicholson, another and one for her.
You gotta love the workmanlike attitude of Javin Nicholson. Scores, no big deal. I'm just gonna go back to the free throw line now. Workhorse mentality.
She had scored 31 points the entire season in their first 11 games, and now she's up there at the line going for point number 21. It'll be interesting to see, can Georgia get this from Nicholson once they get into SEC play? And this is what we were talking about when we started the game and talking about the freshman post players. We focused on Mallory Bates. She was coming off the big game against UCLA, but we also included Javin in that conversation, Jordan Isaac. Any of those three, or all of those three, really need to up their game for Georgia.
And you're seeing Nicholson do it on the defensive end. They're hedged out hard, forced the turnover by Gardner Webb. But, Matt, you're absolutely correct. Now, here's the key. I think freshmen either respond or they take a step back come holiday break because this is all new. The intensity, the lack of being at home over the holidays compared to the high school season. You see some young freshmen who just flourish during this time of year. Others, the fatigue gets to them. I'll be eager to see how the UGA freshmen respond post-holiday break.
3 on the shot clock. Chapman with the clock winding down, and that'll be a shot clock violation. And so a timeout with 4:58 to play. Georgia leading by 29 here in Athens.
My name is Mo Hassan, and my nonprofit Second Spoon. We're taking surplus foods and we're distributing them to the homeless in different communities. When I first got to college, I saw firsthand in the cafeterias just how much food was wasted. We need to find a way to repurpose these foods. Just seeing firsthand the homeless people's faces when we bring them food and positively affect them in that way is amazing. I just know it's more than football, and we have a platform, and I think we owe it to the community to use that platform for good.
Learn more at belk.com/Project Hometown.
Hey guys, this is my friend Barry.
Unlimited data, Barry?
Ring #1 in customer service by J.D. Power, Barry.
Let me take your coat, you little award winner, you.
Actually, that's my fur. Oh, be careful of the man's fur.
79-50, Georgia leading with just under 5 minutes to play here, just 1 point off of their season high, which they scored against Kennesaw State in the season opener. And the big story has been the freshman post players, and specifically Javin Nicholson with 20 points today, 21 to be precise. That's the most since Gabby Conley scored 37 against Texas A&M 2 years ago.
It's rare air to say the least. But, Matt, we did that Kennesaw State game. And when we watched the young post players there, we got really excited. If they could develop, we knew what they could be and how they could impact this team. And Javin Nicholson's coming out in a big way today to say, hey, I'm here and I'm ready to compete in the SEC.
And not just a new career high in points for Javin Nicholson, but also a new career high for her in rebounds. With the double-double, her first career double-double, 21 points and 10 rebounds here today against the Running Bulldogs. You know, she's excited. And, you know, you were talking about that wall that some freshmen hit this time of year with the Christmas holiday. If anything, I would think this performance just gives her a little bit more enthusiasm and motivation to come back and, you know, pick it back up again against East Carolina next Sunday.
You hope so. And so, Matt, we're talking new career high points, rebounds, as well as minutes played. And I think that's something the staff has also been keeping an eye on with her because they want her on the floor more, but she has to play at a high level like this to stay on the floor.
And not only are you helping Georgia win the game, you're also kind of in the middle of an ongoing competition with your teammates.
Absolutely.
Because Bates, Nicholson, and Isaacs, that's a 3-player rotation right now. You know, one of those 3 players is not going to get as many minutes as the other 2.
Competition is the best thing that coaches have in order to get the most out of their players. So you are absolutely correct.
And right now, Nicholson's grabbed the lead. So Carly Plentovich is going to go to the foul line here. Over half their points have come from the Twins. 28 points from them, 8 rebounds total. A couple of assists. And a combined 5 for 9 at the three-point line. Maya Caldwell comes out. I'm trying to figure out how Gardner Webb is picked 5th in that conference. They were 5th last year at 10-8. I mean, just based on what I've seen from Carly and Savannah Plentovich alone, I would think they're conference contenders, wouldn't you?
Well, this is the coach speaking. No one cares about preseason polls.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, those are really about the media. It gives us something to talk about. But so many times you're basing it on what's happened in the past, not on players coming in, not on players' own development in the offseason. And I 100% agree with you, Matt. This is going to be a scary team come Big South play.
I mean, my goodness, just trying to stop those 2 players is a handful enough.
Well, in the offense they run, I mean, they can exploit any weak defender at any moment.
I would agree, though, as we watch this team play, they're going to have to get somebody else step up and help them. You see, they are in conference play when they come out and play next Saturday. The rest of those games, those are conference games for them, starting with Longwood.
I'm going to look to Jessica Williams. She's had an off game today, but this young lady has the explosiveness, has the ability to stretch you out off the bounce and off the three, and she could be a difference maker for them.
That's the first three-pointer for Houston right there. She has 7. She's a player that specifically Coach Simmons says needs to be more aggressive inside. Most of her shots have been outside in this game.
Well, I asked her point blank who has to play well for you to have a chance, and she said Houston, and unfortunately just wasn't able to make that impact felt today in today's game.
So Georgia kind of looking at the numbers here in this game. 19 assists on their 27 made baskets. They're 1 assist off of the season high they set this time last week against Furman. Houston off the inbounds inside the arc. By the way, Javin Nicholson's double-double is the first for Georgia freshman since Q Morrison had 10 points and 10 rebounds against Ole Miss a couple of years ago. The common denominator with this game, 2 years ago, Alex Simmons was on the Ole Miss bench as an assistant coach.
You are a walking encyclopedia of facts today, partner.
Inside basket there, Ari Henderson. So Henderson with her 4th point of the season. Plentovich. Rebound Hose. 4 rebounds for Hose to go along with her career high 14. Henderson takes a 3. Airballed it.
Matt, we've made a lot about Caitlin Hose scoring today, but she has rebounded the ball really well. She set her teammates up, and she's had a number of deflections and steals for a young lady that's known more as a spot-up shooter. She's had a well-rounded, great performance today.
On the shot clock, Chapman with the clock winding down, Hose a 3. And foul's going to be called on Gardner Webb, or it's going to be called on Henderson. And mass substitutions coming in for Gardner Webb as we're down to 72 seconds to play in this game. Georgia, next game, next Sunday, playing host to the Pirates of East Carolina. We'll have that game for you here on SEC Network Plus. And then at Ole Miss on January 2nd, the tip-off conference play in the first conference home game 2 Sundays from now against 15th-ranked Mississippi State.
Who, for everything that they graduate year after year after year, Vic Schaefer has his team primed and ready to make another deep run in the NCAA tournament.
Just a phenomenal job that he has done with that program to turn them into a national championship team.
Well, he recruits to his way, and he knows how to develop young players, and that's why they don't miss a beat even though they graduate. 3 straight years they graduated 5 starters, and they have not missed a beat because those young players continue to develop, and they're ready when their number's called.
Hose inside for Nicholson, a turnaround, got fouled, she'll go to the line. I can remember a decade ago when Coach Schaefer took over there in Starkville. At that time, Mississippi State couldn't beat Georgia. And I can remember the first time they beat Georgia, and it was a big deal for their program. And certainly he has checked off all the boxes, all the way to the top in national championship.
And I look back on a year ago, UGA goes to Starkville to play them and gave Mississippi State everything and more they could handle. Mississippi State squeaked out that win, and I kind of thought that would be the turning point for UGA a year ago. You wonder what's in store for Mississippi State when they come here in 2 weeks.
Certainly will be a stern test, the toughest of the year to this point in the schedule for Georgia.
But the good news this year compared to last is UGA has been battle-tested. The schedule's much more difficult this season. Playing Baylor, playing UCLA. They've gone on the road and played Virginia Tech. So they've had better teams on the schedule to prepare them for teams come SEC play.
Hubbard, mid-range jumper, off the mark. Shot clock off. Nevis on the dribble. Down to 10 seconds to play in the game. Stolen by Chapman. And Chapman will lay it in. And Joni Taylor was sprinting down the sideline. And that will do it. 84-56 the final as Georgia heads into the Christmas holiday with their 8th win of the season, their 6th win at home, and career highs in this game for Javin Nicholson, who goes for 22 points and 10 rebounds, her first career double-double, the first double-double for a Georgia freshman in 2 years. And Caitlin Hose also a career-high 14 points in this game and had 5 rebounds as well.
A well-rounded performance. I thought UGA came out with a sense of urgency in this game, and they performed on both ends of the floor.
So Georgia with the win. And here on Tacky Sweater Day, nothing tacky about the win. 84-56, Georgia beats Gardner Webb. And now for Coach Christy Thomas-Cuddy and our entire SEC Network team, I'm Matt Stewart, wishing you a very Merry Christmas from the Stegman Coliseum. We'll see you a week from now.